This is the third in a series of PowerPoint presentation labs that we have been working on based on the criminal analysis that we started off in Excel, where we're comparing the crime rates in 3 different states during 3 different years. This presentation, we're going to do some modifications and convert it by adding some enhancements and new features we haven't tried before. So let's take a look at what the new presentation is going to look like. Here's the new presentation we're going to create, and right off the bat you can see a couple of differences in the presentation. First of all, we've added a background image on the presentation. We're also going to be adding a picture, as you can see here. In this case, it's a student picture. So let's look at the other slides, and you're going to find very familiar content. This is where there's some narrative regarding the 3 states and the crime rates between them, and a table with the violent crime data for those 3 states. And now we're going to look at the comparison charts. The first comparison chart that we're going to do is a comparison chart where we have the total number of crimes. And the next slide, it's very, very similar. It's almost identical, except the chart is different. The chart that we're going to be using is a chart where we're going to compare the crimes per square mile of the 3 different states. In the last slide, what we're going to do is we're going to embed a video. In this case, you're going to be doing a search in YouTube and look for a video appropriate to the presentation and embed it in the slide. So we're going to take a look at it from a presentation point of view, and let's see what our slideshow looks like. So here's a first slide in the presentation. As I mentioned before, you have background images on this slide and on every other slide. And in this particular case, we have inserted a photograph. We're going to show you how to work with a photograph and introducing you some features that you would typically find in a photo editing application. Has a simplified version embedded into the program. The second slide also has an image embedded. The contents are identical to what we've done in the past. Here's the next slide where we have also the contents very similar to what we have done in the past. In the background, we have a different image that we have selected. And here's the next slide with a comparison of the total number of crimes. And now when we move to the next slide, I would like to point out the effect that we have produced, which is, I call it morphing. So we are morphing between 2 different charts. This is the second chart where we're comparing the crimes per square miles. I'm going to move back and forth between these 2 slides so you can see the difference. So by duplicating a slide, we have stabilize the background image, the titles, and everything else. The only thing we're doing is changing the chart because we are applying a morph transition between one slide and the next. You can see a very smooth transition. It almost seems like one chart is growing out of the other. And in the last slide, here is a YouTube presentation. I'm going to play just a little bit of it so you can get a flavor of what it looks like. On it, there's the YouTube presentation. I'm going to press on play, and here's the presentation. And that is the presentation. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing in our slideshow today. I have opened the first PowerPoint project we did for the class, and this is the basis for our assignment today. So we are in the title slide, and what we're going to do in the title slide is we're going to insert a picture in this slide. Use a picture of yourself and put it in the slide, in the front slide, and we're going to edit it in order to remove any background the picture may take. So I'm going to use a picture of myself for this demonstration. So we're in the title slide, and I'm going to insert a picture here, and I had previously recorded a photo of myself. So to do this, we're going to go to the Insert tab, click on Insert, and we're going to go and insert a picture. And I'm going to look for the picture. Here is the picture I have previously selected, and I'm going to click on Insert. Now, when I click on Insert, I want you to notice a couple of things. I'm going to zoom in so you get a good view of this photograph. So I'm going to zoom in, and let's zoom in to a given value. So as they move this photograph around, notice that the image is squarish, and what I would like to do is remove all this background so that only the outline of myself shows in, and this area that now has a background becomes transparent to whatever's underlying it. So I'm going to go into the picture tools, which have now become active. This is one of the dynamic tabs that's available on the Microsoft Office products. Because I've selected a picture, we have this Picture Tools tab available. I'm going to click on it, and then under the Adjust group of the Picture Tools that says Remove Background, and I'm going to click on that. What PowerPoint is going to do is take a guess of what is the background that I want to select, and I have a bright color here. In this case, at my screen, it looks purple, and yours it may look different. So the purple area is the area is going to be removed. If I were to just accept this picture, this is what would happen. Only part of my image is there. So I'm going to come back, and I'm going to repeat the operation under Picture Tools. I'm going to click on Picture Tools, Remove Background, and what I want to do is mark areas that I want to keep and areas that I want to delete. So I'm going to click from first areas that I want to. As you notice, most of the background around my figure there is going to be deleted, but so is going to be the area around my shoulders and collars, and those are the areas that I want to keep. So I'm going to mark the areas that I do want to keep. So I clicked on the mark areas to keep, and I'm going to just draw briefly around the shoulder there to see if it takes a, and you're gonna, this is a trial and error. I'm gonna select the larger area over here. I'm gonna select more or less the area over on the right hand side, and now you see it started to recover some of the image, and now I have my collars intact. I'm going to grab a little bit more down here and see what happens. If I start recovering, yeah, it looks a little bit better and around the shoulder on the right. And now I'm going to go on the shoulder that's on my left and start removing that area by clicking and dragging. Like I said before, it's a trial and error. See what happens. I want to keep this area that's at the bottom. And over here in the extreme left, and over here on this shoulder area, this collar area. So that's most of it here, most of it there. And I'm going to keep my changes, but one of the things that happened, I'm missing a chunk of my head there. So I'm going to go back into Picture Tools, under Format, remove the background, and I can come back and edit again. So I'm going to grab an area to keep and just touch over there on my forehead, and that looks pretty good at this time. There's a little bit area right here on my shoulder, and that's gone. So I'm going to now accept the changes. Well, let me move the picture around, and you notice that the background is gone, or it's not gone, it's just been rendered transparent. So that is pretty good right now. So I'm going to go to View, change my zoom level, and here it is. I'm going to place it around this lower right hand corner, and just one item that I like to do. If you notice my face is the face is looking towards the right. I'd like it to look over on the left, so I'm going to click on the photo again and go under Picture Tools, and in Picture Tools I can rotate it, and there is a little button for that here for rotating objects. In this case, I'm going to select a rotation to flip it horizontally. The next thing we're going to do is add a new slide. In this slide, we're going to insert some video. So I'm going to navigate towards the last slide. So I'm going to insert a new slide after this. I go to the home menu, click on new slide, the drop down list, and the slide layout that I want is called title and content. So here's title and content. You're going to be placing a title on the top over here, and on the bottom section here we're going to insert a video, and we're going to get a video from online. So what we're going to do is first select the video, and for that I'm going to navigate briefly to YouTube. And here we are in YouTube, a YouTube page, and what I've done in the search box in YouTube, I put in a search term, and it is the search term that I use is how to reduce crime in society. You can type something similar. You can make it specific to Maryland or whatever area you're interested. But in here, there is several videos to choose from, and I'm going to select one that I've seen in the past, and it's this one right here, and I'm going to click on it. So here is a TED Talk that I have selected, and I have reviewed the content, and I like what I've seen up till now on it. I think it's suitable for this presentation. So let's say that I like this one. This is the one that I'm going to select. So after selecting the video and reviewing, the next thing is in YouTube. I'm going to navigate to the bottom here. You will find a share button, and in the share button is going to provide a link to that video, and here's a link, and I'm going to copy it to my clipboard. And now I'm going to go back to PowerPoint, and in PowerPoint I'm going to navigate into the Insert tab, and in the Insert I'm going to find a media group, and in the media group I'm going to click down on video. I have two choices for video. Video that's on my PC or online video. I'm going to select online video, and over here in this little box I'm going to paste the URL I got from YouTube. So I'm going to right click and paste, and here's the URL, and I'm going to insert it. And here's the video link that I have just inserted. I'm going to present this slide in presentation mode so you can see what the result looks like. And if I were to present it, I wait maybe a second or two, and here's the YouTube video, and I can play it. Now, when the advantage of the technique that we have used now to present this video is that the video is not stored in the file. The video, what we have in the file is a link. The video is actually playing from the internet directly from YouTube, so it makes the size of the file very small. We can also insert a video into the presentation from a slide, but then the slide file will become very, very large. the and the theme that I selected for this PowerPoint presentation is relatively plain. So what we're going to do is insert a background picture, and for that we have a special feature. So to insert a picture, what we're going to do is go into Design, the Design tab. Under the Customize group, I have the Format the Background, and what I'm going to do is insert a picture. And I'm going to insert a picture. There's different sources. And here's the insert button, and I'm going to go for online pictures. In online pictures, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the search bar something that's suitable and hit enter. And let's see something that looks kind of Marylandish. I'm going to insert this picture, and here's a picture right there. Now, the picture looks a little bit busy and overwhelming, so what I'm going to do is soften it up a bit, and what I'm going to do is adjust the transparency of that picture a bit, and on the side over here in the format background, I can change the transparency about a 50% or so on that, so that makes it nice and soft. You're going to use the same technique to apply backgrounds on all the slides. So you can choose different pictures for different slides. It's up to you, but I would like you to insert the pictures and then adjust the transparency to soften it up. 50% tends to work most of the times. By the way, I want to point out again in the photograph, because I had eliminated the background on the photograph, you see this area is transparent all around my silhouette. So after eliminating the background in the photograph, the area that's around my head is transparent and it's not hidden. So it's a better effect. Here I have jumped ahead after inserting background pictures in the different slides. So let's take a look at slide number 4, because we're going to be doing some work in here. Now, because of the background, I'm going to change the background again to make it even lighter because it's obscuring the slides. So I'm going to change over here the background of this chart and of this slide and make it even lighter, so I can see the contents a little bit better. I'm going to change the style of the charts. So I'm going to click on one of the charts, and here's one right here, and I'm going to go onto the design tab of the chart tools design tab, and in the design tab there's various choices over here, styles. So select a style that you like. So I'm going to go ahead in the drop down list and select the style. I kind of like this one a little bit, so I'm going to select this one over here. And this was, let me see if I can match it. This is style number 11. So I'm going to select style number 11, and I'm going to do the same thing on the right, where I'm going to go change the design and make it style number 11 also, so that they match. By doing that though, the fonts change, so they don't fit very well now. So I'm going to go click on the edge of the table and go over to home, and in home I'm going to reduce the size of the fonts over here so that the states do not word wrap. So now they're not word wrapping on the left, and excuse me, they're not word wrapping on the chart on the right. So now I'm going to go to the chart on the left and reduce the font also to match the one on the right. So I'm going to reduce the size of the font, and now they match pretty well. We're going to duplicate this slide and start working towards the morphing effect that I've talked about before. So what I'm going to do is change the layout of this chart. If you recall from the previous lab, this was a two content slide. So I'm going to go on home, select on layout. You see it's two content. I'm going to change it to title and content. After I do that, I'm going to take the chart on the right, and I'm going to click on the edge of it and then press the delete key on the keyboard, and that eliminates the chart on the right. I'm going to select the remaining chart, which is the violent crime total, and I'm going to change the size of this chart, and I'm going to make it 4 inches tall and 6 inches wide. So to do that, I'm going to go to Chart Tools and click on Format, and then click on Size. And in the size here is the size buttons over here. So I'm going to select the height to 4 inches. And the width, I'm going to change it to 6 inches. So I've changed the size to 4 by 6, as you can see up in this corner, 4 by 6. So now I'm going to align this chart so it's centered in the slide. So I'm going to go to Chart Tools, Format, and I'm going to Arrange, and I'm going to align to the center. So now it's centered nicely right there on the center of the slide. Now I'm going to go to the next chart, and I'm going to repeat the operation I did before. First of all, I'm going to change the layout as I did before to title and content. I'm going to eliminate the chart on the left. I'm going to change the size of it, format the size, and I'm going to 4 by 6, and I'm going to align the chart to the center. So now let's go back and forth between the slides. So this is slide number 4 and number 5. So because the charts I changed before are centered in the same position, I haven't changed anything else. If when I click between them, you notice that there is the only thing that's changing is the chart, not the title, and not the background. So what I'm going to do now is going to apply a transition to slide number 5. So what I want to do is go to slide number 4, and when I move to slide number 5, there's going to be a smooth transition. So I'm selecting slide number 5 and going to go to transition, and I'm going to look under transitions for the morph transition. If your version of PowerPoint does not have the morph transition, you can also use the fade. They operate more or less the same. So I'm going to choose the morph transition. And now let's take a look at the presentation. And here's slide number 4. And when I move by pressing the space bar to the next one, you see how the slides transition very nicely. One slide transforms into the other. It's a very nice effect, especially when you're telling the story, and you can imagine yourself making this presentation and talk to your audience about the high number of crimes of Pennsylvania. However, when you compare it to the number of crimes per square mile, you can see how the numbers change. So this is a good way of having a presentation help you and narrate the story that you're trying to present. And this concludes this laboratory. So what we have done, I'm going to go back to the presentation mode, is we've added a picture onto the title slide. We have removed the background in the picture, placed it, and did a couple of other things to the picture. We've applied background pictures to each one of the slides. And also we have duplicated slides again and applying a morph between two different slides. And then the last thing that we did was apply a video or insert a video from YouTube into our slideshow. So I'm going to present it once again to get a general background. So here's our initial slide, moving on to the next ones with different backgrounds for the different cities. And here is the morph transformation going from one type of chart to the other one. And the last one, the video that we bought in from YouTube. So I hope you enjoyed this lab. It has a couple of interesting features. It's kind of fun, especially adding the video and playing around with the photographs. And the morph transition is kind of a cool feature. So I hope you had a good time. I look forward to your comments. Catch you in class.